heading for another 40-homer, 100-run batted in season. Josh Willingham's been hot behind him. Elijah Dukes, Josh Bard, the switch-hitting catcher. Alberto Gonzalez and Colin Ballister is the pitcher. That is your starting lineup for Jim Riggleman and the Nationals. And here's Bronson trying to even his record at 500.
I think the big thing for Bronson Arroyo, as it is with most of his starts, the only way that the breaking ball in this ballpark becomes a big weapon for him is to be able to use that fastball early in the ball game inside to the hitter, right at their hands. And it doesn't mean that he has to knock them down. Just get the ball in there so they have to think about it before he starts snapping all those different breaking balls. Some folks like to call it the kitchen sink.
Everything but and everything including the kitchen sink for Bronson. Here's your 4 defensive alignment for the Reds. The Reds come in 12th in the league in defense with 73 miscues on the season. Next, Dickerson in center and Gomes in right. Adam Rosales will get the start at third with Scott Rowland on the disabled list. Alex Gonzalez and Phillips, the double play combo. The Reds have turned 110 of those. Joey Votto over at first, and Ryan Hanigan, one of the best in the league. He's thrown out 45% who have tried to steal.
Well, our team is awfully strong up the middle with Hanigan behind the plate, even though he's a rookie. Dickerson in center field might be a rookie, but they can flat play.
And they'll be tested tonight with the running game because Morgan likes to run a lot. He's stolen over 20 bases since coming over. Morgan steps in. He's in at 309, 3 homers and 36 knocked in. Morgan, Guzman, and Zimmerman 1, 2, and 3 in this lineup for the Washington Nationals. Pretty good numbers, and his season against Cincinnati with the Pittsburgh Pirates, this is the first time he's faced the Reds in a Washington Nationals uniform. You see, pretty impressive overall in his career. He's 394 against the Reds. No homers and 1 knocked in. Got to worry about the bunt. That's why the third baseman Rosales is in tied at third. And really, when you look at it, the deal between Washington and Pittsburgh included Morgan and in the bullpen Sean Burnett. Each of them have been pretty productive for this Washington Nationals team. Morgan's been a regular. Burnett's been a solid lefty out of the bullpen. So far, so good for that deal, at least.
Well, every team has to have some type of lefty down there as a lefty specialist when you've got a tough guy like Votto or somebody like that coming to the plate.
Roll to the right side. Phillips knows he's got to get there quick. He does, and there's 1 away. Morgan's retired, 1 out. Here comes Christian Guzman, the switch hitting shortstop. Brandon will always remember his first trip to Washington when the Reds took on the Washington Nationals. It was just after he was dealt from Cleveland to the Reds. He started his first week, was brilliant, and in the other dugout was Frank Robinson. Frank, of course, was his first manager in Montreal. Robinson never wanted to include Brandon Phillips in the deal with the Cleveland Indians. The deal that sent Cliff Lee and Grady Sizemore and Brandon Phillips to Cleveland. And Robinson called him into his office before the first game of the series, said, "Young man, you got a second chance. Don't blow it." And he said, "Mr. Robinson, I won't." And I guess he has it, cowboy.
Yeah.
There's a bouncer down to Votto, over to Bronson, and quickly there's 2 away. 2 ground ball outs from Bronson. That's a good way to start.
Well, Chris Spire, who does most of the positioning down in the first base dugout for the Reds, had Joey Votto and Brandon Phillips exactly where they needed to be with Guzman swinging the bat. Otherwise, if they're in regular position, that's a knock.
Well, we went to San Francisco last week. They've got a new wall of fame outside the ballpark. There's a plaque there for Chris Spire, one of the great shortstops in Giant history. Also a plaque there for some guy named Brantley. Where did that come from? Pretty neat, wasn't it?
Awfully proud of that. I didn't even know it was there.
I saw you trying to take it down that last day before you went on the bus. You had the chisel working on the wall.
You're so bad.
I said, "Ashley, send me the hammer and the screwdriver."
If my dad was still alive, he probably would.
You're right. No balls, 1 strike to Zimmerman. Boy, has he been hot. Another hitting streak. He's hitting 15 straight. That goes along with a 30-game hitting streak earlier this year. And this is one of the bona fide outstanding young players in the game. Solid defensively. Nobody maybe in the game plays a slow roller better than he does. And with the bat, he's in at 305, 24 homers, 76 knocked in.
A young Scott Rowland, if you will.
Yep. Got in on him a little bit. It's popped up to the left side. Rosales drifting back into fair territory has it. That's a good start. So much for the 9 earned run average for Bronson. That's a zippo. At first base. That's been one of the byproducts of the trade of Nick Johnson. That's put Dunn at first more than probably he likes, and certainly that's the way it's unfolded with the outfield configuration. Here's the Reds batting order. Chris Dickerson will lead it off. Dickerson red hot in the month of August since coming back. Alex Gonzalez, he's been hot as well. Gonzo for the month over 300. Joey Votto wriggling out of his hitting slump in the number 3 spot. Then Brandon Phillips in the cleanup role. Lance Nix, Johnny Gomes, Adam Rosales, Ryan Hannigan, and Arroyo bats in the 9th spot. And here's the big, tall, lanky right-hander Colin Ballister.
You watch Ballister throughout this ball game, and he stands about 6'6". He's awfully lean. God, they called him out, George.
He's saying he touched the ball outside the batter's box. Tim McClellan's going to ask for help from the first base umpire. And fortunately for Dickerson, he's going to get another chance. Andy Fletcher came down and said he was in foul territory and still in the box.
I was supposed to say that was close.
Yeah. McClellan did the right thing. He thought it hit him, and he'd give him credit. He goes to Fletcher for a clarification. Is he in foul territory, and is he out of the batter's box? In foul territory, so it's a foul ball, and we'll try it again. 1 ball, 1 strike.
If you're hit in the box, foul ball. Out of the box, running down the first baseline in fair territory, you're out.
Swing and a miss. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Good to see him try to drop a bunt down with his speed, and you know, we've talked so often about it with Willie Taveras. You got that kind of speed. Just put the ball in play, you got a chance, especially against a team that leads all of Major League Baseball with 101 errors. Although they have been playing better over the last 3 weeks.
And I think part of what Dickerson was trying to do there was roll that ball down the first base line and actually test out Adam Dunn at first base, because that's not his natural position.
That's a 55-footer, and it's a full count, 3 balls and 2 strikes.
That's the one part that we'll have to watch throughout the night with Colin Ballister. His best pitch is that 12-6 breaking ball, the breaking ball that breaks straight over the top, and sometimes it'll bounce down in front of home plate, and if it does, it's awfully difficult to block. But he short arms the ball, and he actually drops that elbow because he's so tall. He has to drop it ever so slightly so he can get the ball down in the strike zone.
3-2. Slap down the third base line. Zimmerman flips across his body, and they get him. Billy Hatcher thinks he tapped the foot on the bag before the throw, and he'll make a step out and say a word or two to Fletcher, but will get no help at all. But this is the kind of game that Zimmerman plays.
George, you said it earlier. This guy plays it about as good as you can do it, if not better than any. And that play right there, is perfectly how you described it, George. A ball that is unplayable, and he makes it an out.
And he makes it look easy. That's amazing. Great athlete, great play, and that robs the Reds of a hit.
Not only that, he was on Dickerson, one of the fastest guys on the team.
Amazing. Here's Gonzalez in at 213. Zimmerman has made errors, but you look at errors, and yes, the Nationals lead the National League with 101 errors. They're last in that category, but they've played much better of late. But there's some athletes that will, when the year is over, you look at the number of errors, and it's really not relative to how well they play. He gets to balls that other guys never get to, especially in the hole. Popped up, here comes Bard over. They'll run out of room. No balls, 2 strikes. And as a pitcher out on the mound, the one thing, you talked to Steve McCaddy, the pitching coach, he said, we know we hit, but the thing that's impressed him so much is the better defense that they're playing. And as a pitcher and a pitching coach, if you give your pitcher a chance defensively, they're going to feel a heck of a lot better about their job every night. Don't hit it there. 2 away. Here's your 4 defensive alignment for the Reds. For the Nationals, rather. Yes, they've committed 101 errors, but it's been much better over the last 2 weeks. Willingham, Morgan, Dukes in the outfield. Zimmerman, Guzman, Alberto Gonzalez, and Adam Dunn over at first, and Josh Bard behind the plate. The one thing you do expect the Reds to do is try to push the running game against Bard. He has never thrown out runners at a prolific pace throughout his career. A guy who's been around in Cleveland and San Diego, Boston, and his career throwout percentage is under 20%.
Well, what the Reds' biggest issue tonight is to try to push the pitch count of Ballister skyward. The only way that you can do that is to work the pitcher, take some pitches, and hopefully get some guys on base. Washington has the lowest amount of innings from their starting staff in the month of August.
If they got any kind of pitching, they'd be a pretty decent ball club. But their bullpen ERA is over 5. Their starting ERA is over 5. And very similar to the Reds, they've lost a couple of their best pitchers. Jordan Zimmerman, who they counted on like the Reds counted on Edinson Volquez, he's going to have Tommy John surgery out until probably all of next year as well. So Zimmerman lost, just like Volquez lost for the Reds. 2 balls, 2 strikes to Joey. Speaking of the month of August, Joey has struggled at 175 with 1 homer. Ballister faced the Reds twice last year. First week of July when he first came up, then a month later in August the 3rd, and on that day Joey Votto delivered. Votto had one of his homers for 2008 with that shot to center field. It was a big time shot. On that day, Ballister and Washington won the game. That was August the 3rd of 08. Great to see Adam Dunn at the ballpark. He met the media before the game. We heard one soundbite from him. We'll hear some more from him. His wife Rachel's in town. She wanted to come here. They have so many good friends here in Cincinnati, and she's pregnant with her 2nd child due in November. And we talked in the pregame about Bronson Arroyo and the discussions about the supplements that Arroyo uses, and in our discussion with him, the one thing about Bronson, you ask him a question, he gives you an answer. He doesn't try to hide anything. Adam Dunn's the same way. He was always upfront, always ready to answer whatever question you would ask him. He'd be the first if he made a mistake, made an error, did something wrong, he'd be first to admit it.
And they're both honest people. They're not going to beat around the bush and try to give you some bill of goods. And those are the kinds of guys that don't test positive because they're not lying. They're telling you exactly what they take. They're not interested in all of that stuff that goes on over there. They're interested in what's going on out here between the lines.
1 ball, 1 strike to Brandon. Hit pretty good to right. Going back, Dukes at the warning track, reaches up and he'll haul it in. The Reds get a base runner on a walk, nothing to show for it. Here we go to the 2nd, scoreless. Elk serious lawyers for serious injuries. Looking ahead, the Nationals 4 games and the Giants for 3 here. Pittsburgh for 3 and Milwaukee for 3. That's the bill of fare for Reds fans during the course of the next couple of weeks of Reds baseball. Here comes the big guy to the plate, Adam Dunn's return to Cincinnati. And oh, by the way, we talked about what kind of a person he is off the field. What he does on the field every year, same old story. He'll hit 40 homers, knock in 100, score 100, and have 100 walks.
What about that right there, down there by that batting average? My goodness.
Having his best year as a professional for this Washington Nationals team with a .281 average. He's heading towards a 40+ home run season and another 100+ RBI season. As a Red, he wound up with 270 career home runs. He passed the 300 mark earlier this year with the Washington Nationals. Home run leaders in the league. You saw Albert, he got numbers 37 and 38 against the Reds the last couple of nights. That's 2 ahead of Mark Reynolds, and Dunner's behind him in 3rd place.
But George, you look at his 281 average with the kind of numbers that he puts up and the walks he puts up. I mean, that's pretty staggering. I mean, that's the kind of year that everybody thought that he could do here. It just never quite padded out that way.
I talked to one official a couple of years ago when Sean Casey was traded, and the comment was, well, we weren't good with him and he didn't make us better. And the same comment was made about Adam Dunn, and I disagree with that, because there's a liner into left center, a base hit for Dunn, and that's what he's been doing this year, which is what he did at AAA, which is what he did early in his career with the Reds. He'd take that pitch away and go the other way with a base hit. That's the difference between 240 and 280.
Well, and that's one of the things that playing in Washington forces you to do, because you can't just try to pull every single baseball and hit it out of the ballpark, because then you're not going to have that 30 home run mark. And what Adam has done is he's become a full hitter. He's become an average hitter and a power hitter and an RBI guy all at the same time.
So Dunn's down at first. Here's Josh Willingham. He's had a pretty good year too, healthy for a change. He's in at 304, 18 homers, 46 knocked in.
You know, George, when Josh Willingham was in, what was it, Florida? A lot of his swings were looking at that short left field porch, and that really makes you susceptible to the ball that's on the outside part of the plate. And now he's in a big ballpark. He's hitting 300.
And of course, in his case, the big thing is he's been healthy. He did have a stint on the disabled list earlier this year. In fact, was just coming off it when the Reds played the Nationals earlier this year. It was back in June, the 9th, 10th, and the 11th. The Reds took 2 of 3 down in Washington.
He's got a chance to be healthy, as you said. He's playing on an everyday basis and using the whole ballpark instead of just trying to get that one big launch in the ball game out of left field.
One ball, 2 strikes. Elijah Dukes in the on-deck circle. Already completed today on this Thursday. Colorado beat Pittsburgh 10-1. Jason Marquis won his 13th. Milwaukee over San Diego 12-9 the final. Hara got the win. And Philadelphia beat the Cubs 6-1. That's lined into left, coming in, reaching in, and holding on is Lance Nix. Nice play by Lance Nix. Hit right on the button, and the first step was the key. Lance read that perfectly, hauls it in, and instead of 2 on, nobody out, there's 1 on, and the runner's still at first.
If you make a jab step backwards at all, that ball is going to eat you alive. But instead, Nix was being aggressive right off the bat and makes a very nice play.
Now, you grew up as a shortstop, and you loved playing short, and if somebody told you to move to third, it was tough. And in Lance Nix's case, he was always a center fielder until the last couple of years where he's had to play some left and some right. It takes some adjustment.
It really does, because the ball comes off the bat different. In the infield, it comes off the bat different, but in the outfield, it's exaggerated. It's kind of like hitting a golf ball. If you only hit it 10 or 15 feet, it doesn't slice or hook a whole lot. You hit it 250 yards, it's going to move a whole bunch, like in the trees.
Down to short, 6, 4, yes sir, E3. 111th double play of the season for the Reds. Bronson gets some help from number 2. Good hands. Good twin killing. Game. Andrew Tedesco of Cincinnati is going to win it. Register for your chance to win during an upcoming game at your Cincinnati and Northern Kentucky Toyota dealers. Great job, Jesse, driving that Tundra up there. Great to have you back with us here at Great American Ballpark for the first of 4 against the Washington Nationals. Jesse Jackson back in the booth with us. Jim Strickler, we got him safely back to work after a week on the road. We were wondering whether he'd be showing up. Strick is back with us. Our producer tonight again is Brian Hunterman. Director Carl Patterson tonight. Matt Sigafus, Lauren White downstairs as well in the truck, and Kent Weaver with us as usual, taking care of pregame festivities along with Jeff Pecoro, Jim Day, and they'll be by with the Reds live postgame. Here's Lance after that nice catch. He'll lead it off in the second. In at 239, 9 homers, 32 knocked in. And part-time play, Nix comes in with 21 doubles. That's the most on the club. And had a pretty good road trip, including a big base hit in the Reds' second game victory against the Cardinals in St. Louis. Knocked in 2 with the bases loaded. Hit pretty good right center field. Heading towards the alley. It's going to be one hop to the track. Rounding first, going to second. He'll slam on the brakes with another double. Make it 22 doubles for Lance Nix, leading the team.
For a second, George, I thought he was going to be heading for third base. In between first and second, he was laying it on it. They try to start the ball inside. Well, it gets inside, but then it runs back over the plate, and those are the kinds of pitches that automatically hitter says commit. The ball's in the heart of the plate. It starts to run away. It runs right to the fat part of the bat, and as strong as that man is right there, Lance Nix, he just jerks it right in the right center field hole.
But nobody out, and here comes Gomes. This is Johnny's 8th start in the last 22 games. 18th start in the last 22 games. He has gotten more and more playing time with the injuries and the shuffling of this Reds lineup. And he steps in now with 11 homers and 28 knocked in.
For the most part, when there's been somebody out there to knock in, he's gotten them in. Go ahead.
Yeah, he's been solid. I
don't know what his batting average is, but
308 with runners in scoring position, and that's one of 4 for the Reds, over 300.
You think guys just have a knack for that, George? I mean, I've never been a hitter, so I wouldn't know, but I know that there's some guys that they are way better hitters with runners in scoring position than they are with nobody on.
Al McRae, the former Red, the great designated hitter with the Kansas City Royals and the hitting instructor in St. Louis. Here's Ballister to the stretch. Here's the 2-1. Al McRae says, and he was saying it just the other day, talking about what makes Pujols so great. He said, you know, everybody puts pressure on themselves, just like with runners on base. As a pitcher, you worry about the runners on base, and what Al McRae tells his hitters, what are you worried about? He says the pitchers that's got to worry to just put the bat on the ball. Don't try to do more than you're capable of doing.
And I remember him saying that when I was playing both with the Reds and with the Cardinals, and I'm talking about Al McRae telling the hitters that. So I thought to myself, well, if he's telling the hitters to think like that, then that's probably how I ought to think. I'm going to think that the pressure's on the hitter.
Joe Torre has a great description of it. He said the key in those situations is to be intense but not tense.
That is money right there. Yeah. That is a great statement, because if you back off, you're worthless. You're going to get scared, or you're going to get anxious and not make a pitch. But if you stay intense, you'll make the pitch.
Full count, 3-2. I guess it's easier said than done, though. I mean, it sounds good, and the great hitters are intense without being tense. But you know, the rookie that's up with wondering whether he's going to hang with the ball club, it's a little bit of a different story.
The biggest thing to me is don't be afraid to fail. You know, let it all hang out and go get them, battle, because that's what it's about. That's the fun of the game, is the battle, especially one like this.
3-2. Oh, this hit a ton. Well, that's not tense. That's intense. And in the upper deck, that's a big time blast from Johnny Gomes. His 12th home run, a 2-run bomb, and the Reds are on the board. They lead it 2-0. Wow.
And George, how many quality pitches did he foul off from Ballister before he finally got a pitch that he could handle? I mean, there were 4 or 5 pitches there that he just did nub off to the left or off to the right on a 3-2 count. Finally got him something he could just jack out of here.
Big swing from Johnny. 12 homers, now 30 knocked in. Rosales swinging at the first pitch and grounded to Guzman. Here's another look at number 12 for Johnny. Caramba.
That's not one you foul off right there. That's the one you call mama about.
And you saw, I mean, Ballister tried to come in on him, and he just was able to flick those balls down the third base line. A little behind on him. He got in on him a little bit, but he just missed on that one. And he missed, but Johnny didn't. 2-0 Reds. Here's Ryan Hannigan. Now the Gold Glove winner of last year resides in St. Louis behind the plate. That's Yadi Molina. Dave Duncan, the pitching coach for the Cardinals, of course, loves his catcher, but the Cardinals as a staff and Yadi Molina as an individual has a lot of respect for this young man. After watching him in the most recent series, they believe he's the real deal. Tony La Russa saying he's one of the finer young catchers he's seen in the league the last couple of years.
Well, the one thing about Hannigan that I love is that he takes as much pride in the pitcher throwing a shutout as the pitcher himself, and he does not want hitters to run.
This one down the left field line. Looking up. Could it be two? Yes, it is. Two in the inning. Brian Hannigan gets his second home run. The Reds get their second home run of the inning. And that's enough to shoot the fireworks off at Great American Ballpark. The Reds lead at 3-0.
And I really believe, George, and I may be the only one that believes this, but I really believe that if Ryan Hannigan has a full season behind home plate, nobody's going to be talking about RBIs. Nobody's, or lack of. Nobody's going to talk about the fact that he's not driving in runs. He is a guy that makes it happen.
There's Bronson, a big swing from him to left center field. Nigel Morgan there. He'll haul it in. Second out of the inning. Another look at another home run swing.
Ryan Hannigan has always been a guy, a baseball player that has been able to adjust and be successful in every level he's been at. Every level.
Was that a great catch or what?
That was a big time.
That was big time. Well, if you don't bring your glove, at least bring a hat. Outstanding. Now Joey Votto ended his August funk, and Ryan Hannigan may have ended his with that swing. He had an 0 for 20 stretch, but that home run gives the Reds a 3-0 lead. Here's Dickerson, who grounded out first time up. Left center field. Here comes Morgan. Here comes the left fielder, and diving, making the catch is Willingham. Nice play by Josh Willingham. Well, good inning for the Reds, and a good inning with the black hat in left field for that fan. Reds lead at 3-0. Yes, sir. You visit buyatoyota.com. By JTM, food, family, and fun, that's JTM. By Geico, 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. Visit us at geico.com or call 1-800-947-AUTO. And by Jeep. You talk, we listen. It's a new day. Have fun out there in your beep beep Jeep. Here's Bronson facing the switch hitting catcher Josh Bard. Bard in at 243, a couple of homers, 22 knocked in. Slapped down to short. Gonzalez takes care of it, and there's one away. Hey, bring your family out to the ballpark on Sunday for the next eReach.com Family Day. When one family member purchases a full price ticket in advance of game day, the entire family gets non-premium tickets at half price. Come root on the Reds as they face the Nationals. For tickets, call 381-REDS or go to Reds.com. There's Alberto Gonzalez, the second baseman, native of Venezuela. In his major league debut a couple of years ago, he steps in at 267, a homer and 23 knocked in. We talk about Adam Dunn making his return, and we were looking forward to seeing Austin Kearns too. Austin on the disabled list now. They hope they'll get the cast off his hand in the next week to two and then be on the way back. Those two guys were close friends for so many years here in Cincinnati, and they remain very close. Austin, Lexington native. He and his wife and family down there, mom and dad, they were always frequent visitors here. Always great to see them. We were looking forward to seeing them, and we wish Austin the best coming back and getting ready for 2010 and getting healthy. That's picked up in the air by Gonzalez, and there's two away.
Speaking of cast, I saw when we came back last night that Jay Bruce has a it's like a removable cast. The soft, it's not a cast. It looks like just like a brace that he's got on that arm that he can take on and off. He is supposed to leave it on there all the time.
That's the you hit the nail on the head.
Supposed to.
We see it off more than it probably should be off, huh?
Yeah, I don't blame him. I don't like those things either.
Jay is just trying to work on range of motion, taking the cast off. Mark Mann closely watching him and talking to Jay. His plan is to get back hopefully sometime in September, and talking with him, there's a real probability, certainly a possibility, that he'll play winter ball, and very likely for Rick Sweet, who'll be down in the Dominican Republic managing this winter, so you know he'll be taken care of. You don't want to send Jay Bruce someplace where you're worried about how they're going to handle him.
And that may not be, it may not be where Jay goes and plays, you know, a full season of winter ball, but he may go for a half a season.
Not bad. 1, 2, 3 for Arroyo. Reds go back to work. Gonzalez will lead it off, leading 3-0. A bobblehead of Reds Gold Glove winner Brandon Phillips, courtesy of Cincinnati Bell. Phillips bobblehead completes the collectible set of 4 that combine to form a special Great American Ballpark backdrop. For tickets, call 381-REDS or go to reds.com. There it is.
This is it.
There's a collectible set of 4. There's Brandon Phillips, and then there's 3 Jeff Brantleys to go along with that.
Yeah, right. How about the glove? It's an ice and gold.
It's gold.
The only problem is they painted this fuzz in here, and I can't seem to get. Oh, that's his chin thing. Oh, I got you. They even got the hat kind of tilted for coolness there. I like that.
Edinson Volquez.
It's all right.
Joey Votto, Jay Bruce, they all come together, all 4 of them. Pretty neat. There's Alex Gonzalez to lead it off as we go to the 3rd.
So they all fit together, and kind of perform the, or
could put them on your dashboard of your truck back home.
There you go. I'd have to Velcro them.
Yeah.
Or duct tape.
They might fit across the barrel of the rifle too.
That's a good idea.
Or the fishing pole. One hopper. Christian Guzman has it. And there's one away. Here comes Joey Votto, a walk first time up. I visited your Cincinnati area Subway restaurant. Make a $5 fielder's choice. Just select any sandwich on the everyday value menu and choose to make it a foot long or a 6-inch fresh value meal with chips and a drink for only $5. Joey walked first time up. Was left stranded in the first. Bounced under the glove of Ballister. Guzman, nice play in the dirt and picked off the shoe tops by Dunn.
And for a team that has not been known for their defense, they flat made a couple of plays here early that make you open your eyes. I thought this was a base hit all the way, especially where it went across the mound. I mean, this guy is on the other side of second base by the time he throws the baseball. He caught it on the other side, Guzman did, and still was able to square his shoulders, which is the most important part of throwing, and threw a strike to Dunn at first base. Big time play.
While they've led the league with 101 errors, the good news for them is 14 of the last 18 games they are errorless. And Guzman takes care of all three. 6-3, 6-3, 6-3. He's due up second when we return. Who is the all-time career stolen base leader in the Nationals Expos franchise history? The career stolen base leader in the Montreal, Washington stolen base history. They've had some. We've talked a lot about it over the years. I mean, Marquise Grissom, the grip, great outfielder. Andre Dawson,
Delano DeShields.
Tommy Harper, one of the best base running coaches ever, was a coach there for so many years. Tim Raines, Rock Raines.
I forgot about Raines.
Yeah. I think if he hadn't gotten injured so much, it would have been Dawson. I don't think it is Dawson. The Hawk, of course. And, you know, just like we were talking off camera after that inning, after the 3 plays by Guzman, you know, how good he looks. He got, that hit him. Nigel Morgan gets plunked. So hit by a pitch, second base runner for the Nationals. But when you play on the turf, as Guzman did in Minnesota, and as Dawson and all those guys played in Montreal, it wears you down.
Nigel Morgan could not get away from that ball. That was a heat seeker.
So Morgan now with 38 stolen bases. He has been caught 17 times. 69%. And talk about the difference in base stealing for this club. Arroyo to the stretch. He starts to go and he slips. He was going. He just hit a skid mark around in the curve at Indy. Before Morgan, in 77 games, they had 28 stolen bases. Since Niger got their Cowboy, in 37 games, they have 28 stolen bases. Different running game, huh?
As Morgan started towards second base, just out of my peripheral vision, I could see Hannigan behind home plate starting his move as he started to square his shoulders.
He's going again. It's bounced down to first. It's a fair ball. They'll get an out, and Morgan will go to second. I mean, even if he wasn't running, it's unlikely they could have turned two with his speed anyways, but with him running, no chance.
He was sliding past second by the time Joey got the baseball. Look out here at second base and watch as the ball comes right in here. He is already sliding past second base as Joey caught the ball and then turns around to throw it. Too little, too late.
So sending the runner puts Morgan down at second with one out, and here comes Zimmerman. Ryan popped up first time up, sitting on a 15-game hitting streak, and during that streak coming into today, he hit .455 to get his average back over 300. Phillips trying to keep Morgan as close as he can, about 10 feet from the second base bag.
And I think if you're Bronson with a 3-run lead here, the last thing that you want to do is get into a count where you're so deep with Zimmerman that you have to lay a cookie in there and end up with a 2-run jack out of the ballpark, or a place where he hits a double and then you've got Dunn coming up.
Down to third. It's a fair ball. Rosales, a rocket shot, and Zimmerman hustling all the way, almost beats it out. Rosales took a peek at second, and he didn't realize how fast Zimmerman was getting down that line.
Great job of pitching. Good job by Rosales. And it's a good thing, as you said, George, that he's got a cannon for a right arm.
By the slimmest of margins, that one off the plate and a bullet across the infield. Here's Dunn. Adam singled to left center first time up.
How many superstars are in the game today that run balls out like Ryan Zimmerman?
Yep.
Because he is a superstar.
Oh yeah. And not even superstars. How many everyday ball players?
Anybody.
Yep. You love the essence of what Pete Rose represented, and the same thing with Rosales now on the Reds. Runs everywhere, whether it's onto his position defensively or down to first. And you don't have to be a superstar. You don't. I mean, that's the way you should be taught the game, and that's the way you should play the game.
Well, that's the way Pete was taught the game, and he was never going to play it any less than 110%.
Coming into tonight, Dunn was 0 for 2 against Bronson. Got a base hit his first time up.
And I think at this point, for Bronson, you want to try to do whatever you can to keep the ball on the ground and possibly get Dunn to get out on the front foot and roll the ball over. You've got 3 defensive guys on the right side of the infield. The shortstop has moved that way.
Breaking ball just misses 2-1. You saw the numbers for Dunn. With runners in scoring position, there are only 3 players on this team over 300.
There they are, all on that side.
The overshift for the Reds, and Dunn takes ball 4. walk to Adam. So 2 on, 2 out. Here comes Willingham. And don't forget, tonight's Mega Million jackpot is a big one. Up to $146 million. Buy a ticket today. You could be a big-time winner in the Ohio lottery. So Dunn heading to another 100 walk season. That's his 84th walk. To go along with 14 intentional walks. And that was kind of a almost semi-intentional walk by Bronson.
Yeah.
He'll face the right-handed swinging Josh Willingham, who lined the left first time up.
This may be the best numbers that Dunn has ever had in a year. And this
oh yeah, sure. And if you talk to Adam, this has not been an easy year with all the changes, the firing of the manager, the injuries, and everything else that's happened.
And having the worst record in the National League.
Yeah.
That's no fun for anybody. I don't care who you are.
And if you care, and Adam Dunn does, all you want to do is win. Whether you're a Red or a National, you want to be on a winning team. You want to have a chance when you get to August and September. That's what it's all about.
To play for something besides the final day where you can pack and go home.
Opening day is the best day. When you're going nowhere, the final day of the season is the worst day. I remember sitting with Pete Rose the day that Carl Yastrzemski retired, and we were watching on TV, and he said, "You know why he's retiring?" I said, "I don't know. Hurt, finished." He said, "Because he didn't have a chance to win." He said he could keep playing, and that's why Pete kept playing, because he was on team that had a chance to win.
And that was the thing about Pete, is he played in more games,
more winning games.
Yeah, more winning games than anybody ever.
That's probably the thing he's most proud of.
I bet it is. I mean, you want to be known as a winner.
3 balls, 1 strike. That's a strike. So we'll go full. The runners from first and second will be off. They'll be running in the 3-2 to Willingham. The 3-2 now, they'll deal to this big right-hand hitter. Bounce down to short. They'll have to go to first. They'll get there and get Willingham by a step. So a hit batter and a walk, no harm for Bronson. When we return, Reds go back to work. Speed, power, great athletic outfielders. Who is the all-time stolen base leader? Pick it from the list. There's Rock Raines with 635. All of them were outstanding players. I do believe, and he came close last time, I think this year Andre Dawson will get in to the Baseball Hall of Fame in Cooperstown.
I hope so.
He hit the 60 percentile mark. He needs 75%.
The thing that I've always loved about him, George, is when he left Montreal, he went to the Chicago Cubs and said, here's my contract. I've signed it there at the bottom. You pay me whatever you want. I want to play right field. Do you want me? And they said yes. And he said, okay, just pay me whatever you want.
That's Dallas Green.
He was the MVP that year.
Yep.
MVP. You don't think he had some confidence in his ability?
And again, you remember moments, and Dawson had so many great moments on the field. Here's the 2-1 to Knicks. Lance first time up, doubled in the second. That preceded the at bat by Johnny Gomes. Gomes homer to make it 2-0, and Hannigan's homer made it 3-0 all in the second. When I think of Andre Dawson, I think of the Hawk. I think of going into the training room at Wrigley Field. I went there early one day for a package that I was doing, an interview that I was doing, and I walked in about 1:15 for a night game, and here was Andre Dawson in the tub getting treatment on his knees, and he did that every day just to get out there and play. He didn't just show up at the ballpark and dress. His knees were so bad,
they were terrible,
that he had to take treatment every single day just to get out there.
He'd get out of that tub, he'd put the hottest ointment that you could imagine on his knees and then wrapped around them, so it was just a absolute burn inside of his knees during the ball game.
Lance Nix 2 for 2. He singles to right. Here comes Gomes. Johnny ripped his 12th homer of the year, first time up.
I can remember hitting Andre Dawson, George, and thinking to myself, okay, what am I going to do if he comes out here? And he's staring at me, you know, and that's why they called him the Hawk, because he looked underneath that cap. I was biting my bottom lip so hard that it was bleeding on the inside, and the reason I was biting it, it was quivering. I was trying to look tough. Wasn't easy.
How about this? Left field, if it's fair, forget it. That is gone. A rocket shot off the bat of Johnny Gomes. Well, in St. Louis, he had a 2-assist game. I think he'll take the 2-home run game right alongside that to complete a pretty good week. Johnny Gomes, 2 big bombs, 13 on the season. The Reds lead it 5-0.
That's the way the Hawk used to hit him. You throw him, he bang him. Might start having to call Johnny Gomes the Hawk.
That's the cannon. The only question, and you saw Johnny watch it, would it be fair or foul? It was taking a left turn fast. Fortunately, it stayed fair, and the Reds now lead at 5-0.
The only way that this ball stays fair, because they were trying to go away and the ball runs back inside, the only way that it stays fair is Johnny gets inside the baseball. And by inside, I mean that his hands got inside, literally inside of the baseball, and that's what allows the ball to keep from hooking as it goes down that left field line.
Turbocharged.
Man, that ball, both of them ripped.
Second multi-homer game of Gomes' season, 7th of his career, and the Reds lead at 5-0. Rosales takes a free pass down to first. He goes, and that'll bring out Steve McCaddy to talk to his lanky right-hander.
Ball's supposed to be away, and Johnny almost taking a lumberjack swing, just hacking at it and watching that baby fly.
That's a great view from down the first baseline, looking from first base side, looking down the third baseline to show you how close it came. When it left the bat, it was heading to mid left field. It just kept taking a left turn. So McCaddy delivers his sermon with Rosales down at first. Still nobody out here in the fourth.
If you put your right arm into your rib cage and put your palm up and make a fist, and the bat is coming out of the top of where your thumb is, that is getting inside of the baseball. And that's the way Johnny Gomes hit that ball. That keeps it from hooking.
Big day for Johnny G. Reds lead at 5-0. Here comes Hannigan, who homered in the second also. That gave the Reds a 3-0 lead. There goes Rosales, punched to the right side. They'll get no play at second, but they'll get the out. Good decision by Alberto Gonzalez. First to get back as he was covering second, but then to give up on the play at second and take the out at first.
I like that play a lot, George, with Ryan Hannigan. He is going to make contact. He's not going to strike out a lot. He handles the bat well. And in order to move the runner like that, especially when you don't have any outs, that's a great play to do it.
He came awful close to getting hit, didn't he? That was Ronaldo Nehemiah evening ability there.
Hurdles, the 100-meter hurdles.
Adam Skeets Rosales. There's Bronson fly to center first time up. He pops this one up to the left side. Zimmerman under it. There's your second out of the inning. And back to the top of the order, Chris Dickerson. Let's take a look and see how close Rosales is actually to getting hit by the ball. Ooh, good job.
But you could see his head turned in. He knew that's a hit and run. And that's the way, if you're watching at home, that's how you know it's a hit and run. If the runner is not looking in, it's a straight steal. If he's looking in, it's a hit and run.
I guess if you're going to pick somebody on this team to be your competitor in the decathlon, it would be him. You know, when you take everything athletically,
everything's full speed.
Jumping, running, full speed. You're right.
Either him or the guy at the plate.
Yep. Chris Dickerson. 1 ball, 1 strike to Dickerson, who was nipped at first on a nice play by Zimmerman on a slow grounder to third, and then hit a line drive to left that Willingham made a great catch of. 5 runs, 5 hits for the Reds. And home runs have been infrequent for Cincinnati of late. 3 of them tonight. 2 from Gomes, 1 from Hannigan. Tries to check it. No way. But yes way for Johnny Gomes. Gomes in the second, a 2-run homer, 2-0 Reds. Jones in the fourth, a 2-run homer, 5-0 Reds. AT&T, the nation's fastest 3G network. AT&T, your world delivered. Well, on a blessed night for Johnny Gomes, he's got 2 home runs, and the Reds have a 5-0 lead. Here's Elijah Dukes. Bounced into a double play first time up. Don't forget, when the Reds get it done with a run batted in this year, that means another $25 from Shakely goes to the Reds Community Fund. Shakely, it's done. Not Adam Dunn on this night so far, but Johnny Gomes has done it on this night. Right field in the air, right at Gomes. And there's one away. There comes Josh Bard, who bounced out first time up. Our Honda standings update in the East. Philadelphia with a 5-game lead over both Atlanta and Florida. Phillies are winners today again. Cliff Lee got another win for Philadelphia, coming over from the Indians. Cardinals 4.5 over Chicago. Colorado 5 back. Their Honda standings update. You know, they were able to get what they wanted, which is a big-time starting pitcher, and they didn't give up what they didn't want to give up, which was the cream of the crop of their farm system.
I just still am baffled at how they were able to work out getting Ben Francisco. I mean, that would be a guy that would fit into this lineup for the Reds. Plain as day, a right-handed power hitter. And they got him almost as a throw-in just because they got Lee.
Fouls it off 0-2. I'm anxious to see what happens now also with Billy Hall. There's a guy, I mean, he's killed the Reds over the years, and designated by Milwaukee yesterday. Of course, he's owed big money, $8 million plus what's owed this year, which Milwaukee now will pay for. They've tried to make a deal for the last 2 months and haven't been able to make a deal. But I mean, somebody has to believe that there's still something left there. He's a very versatile player. There's a fly ball to left, running over Nix, looking up. He got it. Lance Nix, full speed, hauls it in.
That's a big time play there by Lance Nix, especially having to backhand the ball and having Chris Dickerson coming right at him full speed. Never takes his eye off the baseball. I guess that's the benefit of being a big muscular guy. You don't have to worry about anybody running into you.
You're right.
But you're right with Billy Hall, George. Guess we'll talk about that in a little bit.
How about that for an easy inning? Bronson will take it. 1, 2, 3. To the bottom of 5 we go.
about him. One of them, earlier in the season, he really kept his elbow high all the time, and that really allowed him to drive the ball down to home plate. Throwing the ball down to home plate allows you to get the ball where it's very difficult actually to get from here to there, and you're really throwing the ball at an angle towards home plate, and the hitter has a difficult time making the swing. Watch as this ball goes to home plate, the action on it. It's almost like throwing the ball from the sky. A good swing, but yet the ball is not there. Over a period of time, for some reason, he's really started to drop that back leg, and now he's having a difficult time staying on top of the baseball consistently. This back leg back here drops, and the elbow at the same time is not the same height as you saw it in the first screen, which ends up making the ball either sail up and away, or the ball will really start to run to this side over here. And what that means is the ball is up, it's out of the strike zone, and we all know what that means. It's either walks or home runs.
Gonzalez strikes out. Here comes Votto. Oh, Professor Brantley, I have a question, Professor Brantley?
Yes, sir.
Well, we can show it again after Votto's finished, but the one thing I didn't realize it until you just showed that, there's a ball almost in the identical place that Votto hit it last time, and Guzman takes care of it. In the earlier shot, watch his hands. They come over his head with his windup.
Right.
Now, there it is on top of his head. Now, watch him this time on the other shot. He's no longer going over his head.
Well, what they were trying to do by stopping going over the head was that big step that he would take back in his initial phase. They were trying to shorten him up here, make him a little more compact. Well, they did make him compact, but he's so compact now that his elbow drops and his back leg drops, and now he can't find the strike zone.
Thank you, Professor Brantley.
And you don't see it on every pitch. You just see it like on that breaking ball there. Drop the elbow, back leg drop, breaking ball hangs up high in the strike zone. And that's where you get yourself in trouble.
Here's Brandon. High pop up into short left center. Here comes Willingham. He's got it. That'll do it. Back to back 1, 2, 3s for these two pitchers. We're heading to the 6th. Ballister's due up.
Thomas, Kentucky, getting it done with his hat. You don't need to bring a ball glove to the yard. When you got a hat, you can catch it in. We're out here in left field. Bronson Arroyo goes to work in the 6th inning. We're with Jay Thomas. How'd you do it?
Oh, I just saw the ball coming, and I was worried about the beer, and I didn't have another hand, so I pulled the hat off my head, and next thing you know, it's in the hat.
Did you save the beverage?
Yes. I got a little on the guy down there, but he's left now. But, yeah, I caught it.
And you gave the ball to the friend here?
Yes, to Lindsay.
Lindsay here has the ball. How cool is that? That, you know, the guy you come here with catches the ball, home run ball.
It was amazing, considering that I love coming to the Reds games, so it really made my night.
All right, that hat's famous now that you're on.
Good, I'm glad. I mean, I've had it for years, and now it's finally famous. That's an awesome task.
That's the first catch you've ever made with the hat.
Maybe. I mean, in 33 years, things get foggy, so it might be the only thing I've ever caught in a hat.
Well, congratulations. I know, and you got a ball to remember forever. George Grand, hey, you never know what's going to happen when you come to the ball yard.
That's great. You know, after a few beverages, sometimes it does get foggy, your memory, doesn't it?
It does.
Tell them congratulations.
I wouldn't know anything about that, but I've heard. Hey, George, I'd also like to remind you that we're letting the fans, as usual, take part in our post-game show. If you joined us on the pregame, we asked the question, would you like to see Brandon Phillips move from second base to shortstop next year? And we're taking those texts all night long at 37664. One, if you'd like him to stay at second base, or two, if you'd like to see him move to shortstop. Again, 37664 is where you text your votes to. Standard text message rates apply. We'll have those results coming up on the post-game. And we're double dipping tonight on Facebook. Facebook.com/Fox Sports Ohio. You can go on there and post your comments. Now make them good. Think about it. We're going to pick some of the best and show those as well with the comment and your name on Reds Live postgame. So we're having some fun with the fans tonight.
Thanks, JD. Great job as usual. There's a ground ball out. Morgan retired. There's two away. Padilla pitch hit for Ballister. So Ballister's night is done. Looking down in the bullpen. Bergman is loosening up. He'll probably be the next twirler for Jimmy Riggleman. Here's Guzman. Bounced out twice, both to the first baseman. Don't forget Sunday night at Petco Park in San Diego. The USA's best high school baseball players take the national stage in the 7th annual Aflac All-American High School Baseball Classic. Greg Biggio joins the live HD broadcast. Game time 8 o'clock here on Fox Sports Ohio. Well, we started tonight, Jeff Brantley, talking about the pressure on the Reds bullpen after the series in St. Louis, and especially after last night when Bronson Arroyo knew full well that Homer Bailey had gone out after only 3 batters. So you knew that they were going to try to get as much as they could from number 61, and they sure have.
When you don't put artificial pressure on yourself to do something way over the top, things work out a lot easier. You just go out and say, okay, I'm going to throw strikes today. Nothing matters. I've got to just get to the 6th or the 7th inning and give our bullpen a break. Well, you know what? He's made quality pitch after quality pitch, and he's having fun out there. Moving the ball around a little bit, pitching inside just enough to keep him off his breaking stuff. Perfect pitch ball game by Arroyo so far.
And talking to him after the game last night in the Reds clubhouse, he said, you know, I'm excited, because he knew he had to come out tonight and support his teammates. He knew he had to go deep into the game, and he was already excited about that last night, and he's making good on it today. Fly ball to center. There's Dickerson. Another 1-2-3 for Bronson here in the 6th. story. A great catch by Jeff, not Brantley. The Jeff in left field. And he only spilt a drop or two of his beverage. That's big time. Good job, man. Our Coors Light freeze can brought to you by Frost Brewed Coors Light.
You ever tried to catch a ball in a hat? I'm sure that you have. It's not that hard.
I don't think I ever have.
It's
I
not
mean, other than with your kids.
You just grab the bill of the hat. You kind of fold it just a little so you've got a little room in the hat. And where your head goes, that's where the ball goes. It's not that hard. You'd be surprised, even with something that's fast.
So the bottom line is you come to the ballpark, bring your glove. But if you can't bring your glove, bring your hat.
There you go.
2 ways to catch it.
That's true.
Been a pretty good night for Reds fans at the ballpark tonight because Johnny Gomes has hit 2 homers. Ryan Hannigan has hit 1. So 3 big souvenirs. There's Jason Bergman who will come in for the 31st time. Veteran right-hander, 27 years of age, New Jersey native.
But he does throw strikes.
Well, we showed you the catch in left field, and how about this catch? After the ricochet onto the walkway, there's a youngster that he didn't get it clean, but man, is he pumped or what? He's going to go home and he'll remember this night for a long, long time. Is that great? Great night.
That'll make it to school somehow here in a few weeks.
Nix is retired. Here comes Johnny. Gomes, a big night, 2 homers. The first one is 12th of the year, made it 2-0 after the Knicks double in the second. The second one made it 5-0, his 13th of the year after the Knicks single in the fourth. Padilla stays in the game. He pinch hit in the 9th spot. He's your center fielder, so he stays in the game in the 9th spot. The new pitcher Bergman enters the game in the 1st spot. By the way, on the scoreboard, we told you Philadelphia beat Chicago 6-1, and that's another win for Lee.
Amazing. You know, he's coming over and not doing identically what Sabathia did last year, but when you put wins on the board in consecutive fashion, it's all the Phillies needed.
Gomes slaps it to the left side and out of play. Tonight, Florida leads Houston 3-1. They're now in the 5th. Phillies won that game 6-1 over the Cubs earlier today. Down the line, curving, it'll go foul. He's been putting some swings on some balls tonight. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
He got a chance for another one.
They keep coming in there. He'll keep ripping at him.
You got that right.
2 balls, 2 strikes.
He does not get cheated on a ball that's close to the zone. When he swings, it's with everything he's got.
In the air to center. Going back, Padilla at the wall. It is gone. That's 3 for Johnny Gomes. What a night. Oh, baby. Unbelievable. Johnny's got them on their feet for a standing ovation. 3 home runs tonight. That sends the fireworks off in the Queen City.
Baby bull.
They want a curtain call. Oh, bless you, Johnny. They're pushing him out. Man, oh man.
Boy, his heart's got to be pumping 100 miles an hour.
There's another look at a big time swing, Cowboy.
The thing about it is the catcher for the Nationals, Josh Bard, wanted the ball up in the strike zone. That's exactly where Bergman went. And Johnny Gomes took him dead central.
That just kept carrying and carrying. Rosales pops it up. He's retired, second out of the inning. I do a Great American Ballpark this year. It's Mighty Bites, a favorite of Junior Reds fans. They're all white meat chicken, fully cooked, stuffed with 4 great tasting fillings. Mighty Bites available in the concession stand near section 416. They're a proud sponsor of Reds Heads Kids Club. Well, we were treated last year when Joey Votto hit 3 home runs against the Cubs last May. And we're treated again tonight. You think of 3 home runs we remember so well in recent years with the Reds. Aaron Boone had the 3 home runs against San Diego and did it against St. Louis. In fact, we talked to Booney and we wish him all the best. He's down at Corpus Christi rehabbing after his heart surgery. He hopes to be back in September, and he hopes to see the Reds when the Reds go to Houston. That's a looper towards second, and it'll be a base hit for Hannigan. So Hannigan's 2 for 3, a homer in this infield hit. Guzman has made 3 great plays behind the bag. He couldn't come up with this one. What a night for Johnny. And it's only the 6th inning, so you start thinking, Cowboy.
What's that?
It's only the 6th inning. He's had 3 at bats, and he should get at least 1 more.
The thing about it is, we were talking about one of the trivia questions we had the other night was Mark Whitten, and who did he hit it off of in the 9th inning when he hit his 4, and that was against Dibble, of course. Dibble being the announcer, or one of the announcers for the TV for the Nationals.
In the booth right next to us.
It's got to be bringing back some memories. And the thing about it is, this ballpark may give up some home runs. These are no wind dated homers. They would be home runs anywhere else.
Take a deep breath. 2 balls, 2 strikes to Bronson. Swing and a miss. That's it for Royal. That's it for the Reds, but not before Johnny does his business. 2-run homer in the 2nd. Another 2-run homer in the 4th, and his 3rd homer of the game in the 6th. Reds lead it 6-0. tonight. Johnny Gomes, after a double by Nix in the second homers, 2-0 Reds. Ryan Hannigan, 1 out later, will rip his second homer of the year. That makes it 3-0 Cincinnati. That's the way it stayed until the fourth. After Nix single, Gomes does it again. 5-0 Reds, a 2-run home run, 385 feet to left. And put a capper on it in the sixth. With 1 out, boom, Johnny goes to center field and out big time. Padilla can't get it. It's on the grass on the berm. He gets a curtain call, and the Reds have a 6-0 lead. Your Chrysler game summary. And while all that's going on, it's been Johnny Gomes' night at the plate. How about the night for Bronson Arroyo? He's allowed only 1 hit. He has a 6-0 lead. We're going to the seventh, Cowboy.
The thing that amazes me about Arroyo so far tonight is the fact that not only has he pitched a phenomenal ball game, that was only his 71st pitch here in the 7th inning. That's a lot of pitch efficiency right there. That's about as good as you can do.
1 ball, 1 strike to Zimmerman. Ryan popped up, grounded out, 0 for 2. Guzman, a 17-game streak. Zimmerman, a 15-game streak. So far, each of them hitless tonight. The lone hit the Nationals have is a single by Dunn back in the second. They got 2 runners in the fourth. Morgan was hit by a pitch, and Dunn walked. This inning, it's Zimmerman, Dunn, and Willingham due up. 2 balls, 1 strike. That's a strike, 2-2. Neat and tidy for Bronson tonight. Full count to the Nationals' third baseman. That's a 16-game hitting streak for Zimmerman. During the streak, he's hit over 450, and it hasn't been just 1 hit a night. It's been usually 2 hits a night. So a leadoff base hit here in the 7th. And here comes Dunn. And here's tonight's What Do You Know, brought to you by Radio Shack. The all-time leader for most home runs hit by a member of a Washington Major League franchise is Columbus, Ohio native Hondo Frank Howard. He hit 237 homers between 1965 and 71. That was for the Senators. Hondo, of course, born in Columbus, went to South High School in Columbus. Great all-around athlete. An All-American in both basketball and baseball at Ohio State. Drafted by Philadelphia in the NBA. Mountain of a man, 6'8", 275. They called him the Capital Punisher in Washington, the Bengal Bomber in Detroit, wherever he was. And he could eat to match the home runs too. I mean, the greatest stories you ever hear about Hondo are not about his home run hitting, but from the late Eddie Brinkman. Brink was one of the greatest competitors that you ever come across, and they were roommates. Brink and he.
Food is good.
The stories that Brink would tell, they were roommates, and they'd end up, there's a broken bat into center field. Dickerson there.
Speaking of food, George, Reds fans, for a great tasting meal and unbeatable value, pick up delicious JTM Philly Kits, burgers, or delicious hoagies at your favorite grocer. JTM, food, family, and fun.
Brinkman loved Frank Howard as a teammate, as a roommate. But back in those days, you roomed together. And when it was all over, you'd pay your incidental bill, meaning you'd get your room service bill that had come to your.
And Frank had his jacked up
so
to the max.
After 3 days, you know, Brink could have maybe 2 hamburgers and that'd be it. And Hondo would have eaten out the kitchen. What an immense man. And his heart is bigger than his body. Hondo is something. What a great hitting instructor, a good coach.
I'm telling you, George, even when I first came up, my first few years, I was fortunate enough to get to just be around him as he was on the opposition, and just a phenomenal man.
And boy, could he throw batting practice. I mean, he threw it in the early group at 12:30, then again at 2:30, and then at 4:30 he'd still be throwing BP.
And pump it right in there. No cutting, didn't sink. I mean, it was just perfect batting practice. Even though he was an old-time player, the modern-day player loved him. All of us.
Swing and a miss by Willingham. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
And I don't mean old-time player in a derogatory manner whatsoever. He was a champ.
He was a treat for young players too, because he'd tell all the stories about old-time baseball.
Correct.
Here's the 1-2. Down and in. Did you ever go to Belisle's in Anaheim? The place where they had the giant portions?
No, I didn't get to go to any of the American League.
National League player.
National League stuff. But I have heard.
I mean, you talk about a piece of pie was about as big as a whole pie.
Right.
Hondo's the only guy I ever went there with, and he ate everything. He ate everything, and then he cleaned your plate off too.
Yeah.
Swing and a miss. Bronson gets Willingham. So after the leadoff base hit, he's gotten 2 outs, 2 away, and here comes Elijah Dukes. They get autographs from the entire 2009 Cincinnati Reds team during Signature Sunday, benefiting the Reds Community Fund. Meet the players, collect autographs for your very own team signed ball, bat, or jersey. For more information on packages for Signature Sunday, visit reds.com/community or call 513-765-7234. Dukes down to third. They'll go the short way, and that'll do it. Leadoff hit for Zimmerman. He gets his hitting streak extended, but it's a quick inning. Now time for the 7th inning stretch presented by Cincinnati Bell. Performance August 13th. On this day, 1983, Cincinnati native, Wyoming high school product Jeff Russell made his major league debut with the Reds. Pitched a complete game 5 hitter. Family, friends, everybody there got a wink, and boy did he pitch a day. Russell's line: 9-inning pitch, 5 hits, 1 run, no earned runs, a walk, 7 strikeouts. He was a winner that day as a starter, primarily a reliever through most of his career, though. Had nearly 200 saves, 186 saves. 2 years with the Reds, 83 and 84. And most fans will remember him for his years with the Rangers in Texas, 86 through 92. A year with Oakland in 92, also traded during the season. Then the Red Sox a couple of years, the Indians in 94, and wrapped up his career with the Texas Rangers in 95 and 96. All told, Nearly 600 games, 589 games. A darn good career for Russ. Jeff Russell. Bouncer down to second. Gonzalez takes care of it, and there's one away. Dickerson is retired. Here's Saul Rivera.
Saul Rivera in the ball game. Sinker, slider. He's been up and down with the Washington Nationals over his career. Big issue for him is that 6.91 earned run average, and he's got to get the ball down in the strike zone. If you're a sinker ball pitcher, you've got to make the ball start at the top of the kneecaps and let that ball drop down. George, you were talking about Jeff Russell, and I had no idea that he had ever played for the Reds. The only time that I remember, where I remember him the most was pitching with the Texas Rangers.
Yep.
And he was really, really good.
Yep.
Even at the end of his career. Amazing. He threw, and you're talking about Saul Rivera throwing a sinker. He threw a sinker that you put your bat out there with a full swing and you didn't catch it just right, he'd snap your bat in half in a hurry.
He probably had a half a dozen 30 save years.
Oh.
With the Rangers, and that heat, it was something.
Amazing. I had no idea he started with the Reds.
Alex Gonzalez 0 for 3, no balls and 2 strikes to him. There's a dribbler down to third. Zimmerman, as usual, sucks it up, and there's 2 away. Now time for our Geico Direct quote of the night on Joey Votto, talking about pulling out of his slump. I'm not completely focused when I'm up there on not striking out. I just want to be aggressive and put the ball in play on a line, not pop it up or ground it out. And he's starting to show some signs of getting out of his funk. The average for the month of August, under 200 at 175. Overall, Joey still comes in over 300 for the season. 315 with 17 homers, 54 knocked in.
He just looks a lot more confident at the plate. You can see him making very small adjustments, and he just looks comfortable. Doesn't look like he's searching.
We were in San Francisco this past week and talking to Carney Lansford, a great hitter in his own right, a batting champion and the hitting coach there. And he was talking about Pablo Sandoval. He said, Pablo, and you can see it just by watching him. He's one of these see the ball, hit it guys. And he's great at doing that. Another guy who's now with the Nationals, who's with us, and he reminds me so much of Sandoval, is Dimitri Young.
Yes.
Switch hitter. See the ball, hit it. Don't make it too complicated.
Right.
Joey's a completely different hitter.
Yes,
he works so hard at his craft. I'm not saying Pablo doesn't, but it's a different kind of approach. He analytically looks at a pitcher. He analytically looks at his swing. Now mentally, he's reliving that swing that he just took and trying to prepare for the next swing.
He really is. He thinks almost one pitch ahead, very similar to what you do as a pitcher.
2 walks for Joey tonight. Good eye. 2-out walk. Here comes Brandon, who's 0 for 3. Fly ball out, ground out, and fly ball out. Hey, Reds fans, come on down to In Between Friday at 6. It's your chance to be on Reds Live, asking the baseball question you need to know. Then our team will answer your question on Reds Live after the game on Fox Sports Ohio. Be part of the fun at In Between Friday at 6. Good question. How many Cokes does the Cowboy have in the course of a ball game on any given night?
A lot.
This could be a new Guinness record. Was it Ty Cobb? Didn't he have the stock in Coca-Cola?
He did.
That's how he made all that money. I mean, he became a millionaire. That's what you should have.
I know. I think I'm a little tardy.
Yeah, you're right.
I'd drink up the profits.
Brandon 0 for 3 tonight, but in the last week had a good road trip. 320 in the last week. Right center field, hit pretty good towards the warning track. Padilla takes a bad route, and he can't get there. It's going to hit the turf. Here comes Votto, who's off and running with 2 outs, and he'll score. Padilla took a bad route. Probably should have had it. It'll go as a double, and the Reds will get a run out of it.
I think sometimes in that part of the ballpark, because of the way that the wind sits or the way that something is happening in that area, we've seen other guys do that. They start towards the wall, and instead of getting to the wall, they have to break back in towards home plate. Well, it's too late at that point because the ball has already started to slice. It started to slow down, and the ball drops in front of them.
Hit hard down to short. Guzman has it. Reds pick up another. They lead at 7-0 going to the 8th. The year by Aflac. We've got you under our wing, and by your Cincinnati Northern Kentucky Honda dealers. Visit mycincinnatihondadealer.com for current offers. Ah, what a beautiful sight on a beautiful night for baseball, and the scoreboard's even a better sight. 7 runs, 8 hits, no errors for the Reds. No runs, only 2 hits for the Washington Nationals. There have been 2 stars to this game. Here's one of them. Bronson Arroyo's allowed only 2 hits. His leadoff single by Dunn in the 2nd, and a leadoff single by Zimmerman in the 7th. And he's had big time support from his right fielder tonight, Johnny Gomes. Not 1, not 2, but 3 home runs. A 2-run homer in the 2nd, a 2-run homer in the 4th, and another one in the 6th. And hang with us because he's due to lead it off in the 8th. Hopped up left side. Rosales runs out of room. Bard tonight grounded to short, fly to left. Josh, now 31 years of age, originally came up in Cleveland, spent time with the Red Sox, very brief time with the Red Sox, and then on to San Diego. That was the deal where the Red Sox needed someone to catch the knuckler. And Josh had never caught a knuckleball before,
and still can't.
Yeah, that's no crime now.
No.
Swing and a miss. 2-2 pitch delivered by Bronson. That's a leadoff strikeout here in the 8th, and here comes Alberto Gonzalez.
Breaking ball starts up around the chest, and the bottom falls out of it. You swing where it was, not where it is, and that's a tough one for Josh Bard.
Alberto lined his short, popped up 0 for 2. Another pop-up. Rosales has it, 2 away. Tomorrow Aaron Harang goes against Garrett Mott. Johnny Cueto against J.D. Martin on Saturday. We're on the air with Reds Live 6:30 both nights, and on Sunday on the air at 12:30. Justin Lear goes against John Lannon. And of all these pitchers that the Nationals are throwing at the Reds, Lannon's the only one that was in the rotation when the year started.
No. Done a whole lot of changing over there with the Nationals, and there's a whole lot to come.
Look out. Between injuries and demotions. Demotion's a product of an earned run average that is last in the league. Jim Riggleman took over for Manny Acta when he was relieved of his duties. But his starters have an ERA of 5.01. His bullpen has an ERA of 5.07. Even when you hit the way the Nationals have been hitting, tough to win.
And that just shows you how much work Steve McCatty has to go. You're teaching not only mechanics and trying to pump up your guys from an encouragement standpoint, but you're trying to teach them how to pitch at this level. That's tough.
Rosales backs up, gets it there in time. It's a 1-2-3-8. Bronson's been great. This guy's been even greater. He's due up first. Johnny Gomes. Clash, attention assist of the game. In left, Lance Nix has sure assisted Bronson Arroyo tonight. That great catch coming in on a line drive. And then in the alley in left center field, he plugged the hole big time with a running, lurching catch of a ball that was headed for extra bases. So a big night for Lance Nix. He's got 2 hits to go along with those 2 great catches. He scored 2 runs because he scored in front of Gomes. And here comes Johnny. Listen to the applause. What a night to remember for Johnny Gomes. 3 home runs and 3 at-bats. He'll face the new pitcher, the hard-throwing Mike McDougal. Look out. Well, McDougal just got about 16,889 enemies with that delivery.
And let's remember, Mike McDougal is pitching for his 5th or 6th team for a reason. The reason is he can't find anywhere near where that little plate is at home. That was not on purpose.
So the lanky right-hander from the stretch. Ball 1 to Johnny. Well, that'll loosen your noggin up a little bit, won't you? You're trying to gear in to try to see a spot that you can swing at a ball, and then that thing comes at your head.
Well, McDougal has such a difficult time even getting the ball to play catch with the catcher.
1 ball, 1 strike. A big swing and a big ooh.
I mean, he is really, when you say wild in the dictionary, they've got a picture of McDougal right beside that word.
No one's ever done it as a Red. It's been done against the Reds. Gomes digs in, and it's spoiled and flipped down the right field line and out of play.
When Mark Whitten hit his 4th home run back against the Reds, when Dibble came in the ninth, I couldn't believe that he hit the home run off Dibble. But when you've got a hard thrower out there like McDougal and like Dibble, all you got to do is just get the bat to the ball.
1 ball, 2 strikes to Gomes. That just is called strike 3. Tim McClellan with the late call, strike call always. He calls strike 3, but let's give an applause to number 31. Johnny on this night delivered with 3 home runs. He stands there now 3 for 4. The breaking ball clips the outside corner for the strikeout, and Gomes' night seemingly will be over with the Reds leading 7-0. He's batting here in the 8th inning. But a night to remember for Johnny. That was some kind of a night when Whitten hit the home runs. It was against 3 different pitchers. Dibble was the last, and afterwards in the clubhouse, kind of a aside, there's a bouncer down to short. Guzman has it. Remember the comment, well, we proved that Whitten can hit a fastball right down the middle, because he got 4 fastballs right down the middle.
Yes, he did.
Rosales bounces out 2 away, and here comes Hannigan. And Dibbs gave up the last one. So Dibbs still in the books, giving up home run number 4 to hard-hitting Mark Whitten on that night. Here's Hannigan. He's also homered tonight. He's 2 for 3. His homer is 2nd of the year, back in the 2nd. It's that time of year again. Time for Kings Island Cincinnati Reds Day. Don't miss this once-a-year event on August the 17th. Purchase your discounted tickets today at www.visitkingsisland.com. Ballister started 5 innings, 5 hits, 5 runs. Bergman gave up 2 hits and a run. Rivera 1 hit and a run. And McDougal here in the 8th inning. McDougal, a reclamation project. You mentioned every place he's been. He was the closer for Kansas City, and they were looking at him to be their closer for years. Injuries set in. He joined the club just before the Reds faced the Nationals last time, and really, I guess you'd have to say, well, I mean, the Nationals, yes, have struggled in the bullpen. He's brought them kind of a bright spot, considering he's come from nowhere.
Well, he's learning on the job training, I guess you could say, on how to throw strikes and to quiet down his mechanics, but he is still awfully raw.
Saves, 12 opportunities.
He's a great guy to have. Yep. If you want to make him into a closer or make him into a late inning guy, and you've got time to do it, which the Nationals do, of course.
2 balls, 2 strikes.
As George, you know as well as I do that McDougal has no idea on slider away, fastball in, change up here, breaking ball there. I mean, he just sees the sign and rears back and throws it as hard as he can.
Hannigan slaps it foul and out of play.
I think that's what leads to more injuries than not, is you're not in control of yourself. When you throw the ball as hard as you can on every pitch, you're just asking to get hurt.
Signed a minor league deal with the Nationals in May. Was up here in June. Down to third. Zimmerman has it. And that'll do it. The Reds go 1, 2, 3 in the 8th. Last roundup. We're going to the 9th. Got a 17-game hitting streak. Here's Willie Harris will pinch hit in the pitcher spot, which is now the #1 spot in the order. It'll be Harris, Guzman, and Zimmerman due up. Willie, jack of all trades, will play around the infield and the outfield. What a night. I mean, on a roller coaster year. The Reds have put it all together on this night. Bronson Arroyo has been spectacular, allowing only 2 hits. He has a 7-0 lead, thanks in no small part to the great effort of Johnny Gomes' 3 home runs. 1 away. He's been in control all night.
I think the big number there, George, is he only has 3 strikeouts. Now, a lot of people would say, well, he should have a lot more. No. When you get outs, that's how you win ball games and get deep into the ball games. When you try to strike out 7 or 8, 10 guys, that's when those pitches pile up and you're out of the game in the 6th inning.
Here we are in the 9th, just now closing in on 100 pitches, 97 for the night. Here's Guzman sitting on an 0 for 3 and a 17-game hitting streak. And it appears that streak will be over. 2 away. And don't forget, when you can't be home to watch your Reds on Fox Sports Ohio, check out MLB.tv, log on to the internet, watch every out-of-market Reds game live. For more details, visit Reds.com, where baseball is always on. Now, these fans that are here tonight have a lot to applaud. They're applauding Bronson now. They've applauded Johnny Gomes. And boy, it's a smiling scoreboard night for the Reds on this night. We'll let them take you through. Ryan Zimmerman's at bat. Zimmerman 1 for 3. Down and away, ball 1.
The last out of the 5th and the last out of the 9th. It's your toughest outs to get.
There's a strike, 2-1.
When you have the lead, that is. You get that out in the 5th, you know you qualify for the win. You get that out in the 9th, you know the game's over and you win.
That's a starter's mentality. And a closer. So different when you get to the 9th, isn't it? Left field hit pretty good. Going back, looking up, reaching up. Nick's got it. What a way to put an exclamation point on tonight. Lance Nix, 3 brilliant catches. Johnny Gomes, 3 home runs. And Bronson Arroyo, a dandy of a night on the mound. Enjoy it, Reds fans. This was a special night, Cowboy.
What a play and what a great job defensively out there tonight by everybody. Not only Lance Nix making the plays that he made, also a great job behind home plate with Ryan Hannigan in the game that he called.